Horsemanship TV. Today we're going to talk about how to do button braids in your horse's mane like you would do for dressage. You want to start off with a freshly detangled mane. I usually wash their mane about a day before I go ahead and braid it so that their mane is clean, but it has time to replenish some of those oils and keep the braids from being too itchy. Since Sid has a pretty good sized neck, I go with a 4-finger width. If your horse has a thinner neck or a short neck, you may want to go with narrower braids to give the illusion of a longer neck. But I just section off the 4-finger width and comb the rest of it out of the way. Some people pin it with their comb. I don't really find it's necessary with how coarse his mane is. But if your horse has a finer mane or you just have difficulty keeping everything out of the way, you can press your comb up into the mane like that and use it like a hair comb to hold it in place. You typically want your mane to be a little bit shorter than his is now, but because I'm letting him grow it out, I'm not going to go ahead and cut it. Typically you want about 5 to 6 inches and his is about 7 to 8, so I would take off about the bottom 2 inches if I were going to do this for a show. And you can just do that with scissors. You don't have to pull for this style of braiding because honestly a thicker mane makes it look better. Next you're going to go ahead and dampen the mane. Just add a little bit of water with a paper towel or a sponge. He's like, oh, that's cold. A little paper towel or a sponge. Just get the mane nice and wet and then comb that through so it's all the way through that area. So next you're going to take this section you've combed off and split it into 3 equal sections and just braid it like you would a normal braid. After I've done the first couple crossovers, I usually press the braid up into the base of the mane. That helps get this nice bubble effect across the top and it keeps the braid really tight and secure against the neck. You want to make sure your braid is nice and tight and secure and you're not leaving it all loose like sometimes you would just a normal stable braid. Once you get about halfway down, you're going to go ahead and add your yarn. So take a yarn color that matches your horse's mane. I usually do about 1 foot. And wrap it around the back of the braid and hold it against the 2 outer pieces of braid that you have. Then you're just going to braid it in. Keep braiding like normal, except now you have 2 pieces of yarn that you keep with those 2 chunks they originally started with. So once I'm at the bottom of the braid, you can see we have these 2 kind of tail ends. I'm just going to pull those out to the side and keep the hair pinched between these 2 fingers. I'm going to take the yarn, loop it around my finger, and take it around the back of the braid and pull it through. This just ties off the end of your braid. You can use a rubber band for this as well. I prefer the yarn method, but it's just kind of personal preference, whatever is easiest for you. Next, you're going to do the knot and pull through. So first, you're going to just take the braid that you just braided, bring it up and around so it makes a little loop around your finger, and then bring your yarn and the tail end of your braid through it. You're literally going to tie a knot using your braid. And this is where you can adjust the size of the braid. You can make it really tight, you can make it a little bit bigger. It's kind of up to personal preference. But then you'll have your yarn and whatever tail ends of mane are sticking out here. If their mane is the proper length, you won't have this extra 2 inches, but it's just because I don't feel like cutting his mane for today. So you'll have yarn and whatever mane is left, and you can trim this off after you're done. So then you're going to do the pull through. I use this little rug puller thing. You can also use the loop that you can make out of a hanger, but I don't like to have loose, sharp ends of metal hanging around my horse. You can pick one of these up at craft stores. It has a nice rubber handle and this handy little latch. So when you use it, you go ahead and push it through the base of the mane. Make sure you're not stabbing your horse. Through the base of the braid and come out the other side. Make sure your braid is where you want it. Then take that yarn and hook it into the hook and close the latch. Then pull it up through the base of the mane, just like that. So once you've finished your knot and your pull through, you're going to have these 2 ends of the yarn. You're just going to lift up your braid and tie them underneath it. And then bring them back up to the top of your braid and tie them on top. And there you have it. You can trim off these little ends of the yarn and any wispies that are sticking up around the braid, but that's your button braid.